7 signs you are an old soul living in modern times. Have you always felt a bit different than the rest of the world? Do you find it hard to confide in someone? Do people call you shy or weird and you are misunderstood quite often? Do you often feel like you're from a faraway land that deep down you miss and cannot wait to see again? If you've answered with yes to at least one of the questions above, the chances are you're an old soul living in modern times. If you are an old soul incarnated here on Earth, your journey is probably not easy, because old souls have lived in many different dimensions and spaces, and most of the time they resent life on Earth at a subconscious level. Also, even though old souls are sensitive, kind and gentle souls, they can have quite a heavy karma to resolve in this lifetime, because no one can live through a multitude of lifetimes without making mistakes. It's just not possible. If you suspect you could be an old soul, read on and find out what is the definition of an old soul and 7 signs you might be one. What is an old soul? If I was to give a definition for the term old soul, I would say an old soul is a soul which has been created by the universe, or divinity, a very long time ago, thousands of years, or even more. An old soul could even be older than the planet Earth, and this is why they have lived throughout many lifetimes in many eras, dimensions and universes. This is the reason they have an inner longing to go back home, which can cause several bouts of depression and existential crisis, augmented by a strong feeling of not belonging here on Earth. Old souls normally come to planet Earth to learn a certain lesson they did not manage to learn in other dimensions and thus, to grow spiritually. Because they have lived through so many incarnations, alternate realities, and dimensions, they have experienced many types of lives and roles. This usually makes them very empathetic and sensitive, very caring towards others and gives them a strong desire to help. Also, they tend to be very spiritual and to have rather unique personalities which they are not afraid to express. In a crowd, they will always stand out with either their ethereal beauty, their unworldly intelligence, amazing intuition, or simply, because of their personality. 7 signs you're an old soul stuck in modern times. If you think you could be an old soul living on Earth but you're just not sure yet, have a close look at the following 7 signs that you're an old soul in modern times. 1. You're naturally spiritual. Most old souls were born with a natural inclination towards spirituality. They have been drawn to all things metaphysical and or even occult ever since they were very young. This is because they've lived through so many lifetimes they intuitively know human beings can't possibly be just a body and that there is more to life than meets the eye. They've always intuitively sensed there is an energetic side to everything we see. 2. Other people think you're wise. You can be sure you are an old soul if people generally tend to consider you wise, want to share their problems and secrets with you, and always seek your advice. Because they have lived through so many incarnations and have experienced so many difficult situations and roles, they will possess intuition, knowledge and empathy way above the average. People around them will feel and see this and thus, will always seek their help and advice. 3. Your calling is to help others. Another strong indicator you are an old soul is that you feel your main purpose in life is to help others, humans, animals, even plants or the planet. Many old souls even choose careers that enable them to help and or save others, such as nurses, doctors, including veterinarians, ambulance workers, therapists, healers and so on. However, this is not mandatory, as some could choose to help through their art or music, donate to charity or to do voluntary work in their spare time. The main idea is that old souls have developed a deep empathy that helps them understand that the ultimate most beautiful purpose of being human is to help and give without restrictions. 4. Your values are different than most people's. One struggle of an old soul stuck in modern times is that their values and opinions will be completely different than the values and opinions of the society. They may be the black sheep who refuse to comply with society's norms because they understand these norms are just temporary and created by people. As one, you may not understand why most people only strive for money and riches, whereas you could be more inclined to develop your spiritual side. Or you may struggle to accept things such as the big emphasis everyone is placing on the physical appearance of concepts such as consumerism and capitalism. Many people and societal norms can feel very shallow to you, which will make you feel even more different and isolated in these modern times in which most people are driven by these norms. 5. You're not happy in shallow relationships. Most of the time, they are also empaths, who yearn for long-lasting and deep soul connections, whether we're talking about relationships, friendships, or partnerships of any sort. They will have the ability to connect deeply and fully at a soul level with other people and to offer a long-lasting friendship or love, but they will also expect the same thing in return. Old souls will not feel fulfilled in shallow friendships or partnerships based on various interests such as sexual or material benefits, and they can easily feel disconnected when they see other people relate to them in a shallow manner. 6. You're an introvert. Another important sign you could be an old soul is if you are an introvert. As an old soul, you tend to place a lot of emphasis on your spiritual evolution rather than on shallow things, and this makes you very oriented towards your own thoughts and emotions. Most are introverts who prefer to only open up to a few special people, because they do not resonate with just about anyone, and who prefer to think twice before they speak. As they have a very rich inner world, they can spend a lot of time lost in their own imagination, and thus, they will need less human interaction than the average person. This will make other people say they are shy, or even weird. At times, but in reality, they are just deep, spiritual and profound people who feel a bit isolated from the crowd. 7. You feel you don't belong. As I was mentioning in the beginning, old souls usually don't come from planet Earth, and most of the time they've already experienced other better dimensions and planets. Thus, when they are incarnated on Earth, their souls could be conflicted about why they are here, and they could feel a deep yearning to go back home. This will make them feel isolated, like they don't belong, and could result in several episodes of depression and existential crisis. Most of the time, old souls will have this feeling of being stuck in the modern times, because their soul craves to return to another dimension, and yet they cannot leave right now until they fulfill their mission on Earth, and until they learn their spiritual lesson. Are you an old soul living in modern times? Do you feel you could be an old soul in modern times? If yes, how does this feel to you, and what is your experience here on Earth? We would love to hear about your personal experience in the comments section below.